Guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a little bit informal and a little bit different from what I normally do. If you guys are new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Mian. I am a social worker here in Miami, Florida, and I work at a hospital. So that's a little bit of background of myself. I'll go into more details because there are some questions that a lot of my viewers have based on the videos that I've been posting as a medical social worker. So again, this video is going to be a Q&A based on the videos I posted. A lot of you guys had a lot of questions, so I wanted to focus this video based on that. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first question I noticed that I was getting a lot is, what is my salary? Now, just keep in mind that the salary that I have is competitive based on the hospital that I work at. So my salary ranges from 50 to 60K per year, and it's based on my employee history, my education background. So if you guys don't know, I have a bachelor's in global studies and a master's in social work. Now with that, I also have 2 years of experience in working at a law firm, 1 year experience in my field internship placement when I was in grad school, and also 1 year of experience in case management and community outreach coordinator post-grad. So based on those experience, my salary ranges from 50 to 60K per year. I also am working on my clinical hours for my license, so that is a part of my benefit with working at the hospital. So that's my salary range. The next question is that I received a lot is, do you need hospital background to become a medical social worker? I want to say yes and no. For me personally, I did not have any medical background. I never worked in the healthcare, but it's also based on what position you're applying for, because my job title is social work 1. So at minimum, I just needed my master's in social work and like a few years of experience in working. So during my interview, based on the questions that they asked, I basically tailored my answers to what it was that they were looking for. And how you present yourself in an interview can also increase your chances of working in the hospital as well. So you don't necessarily need medical, like healthcare career background knowledge. It's just how you really tailor your resume and how you present yourself in an interview. So the next question is, what do I do as a social worker in the hospital? Now, as a social worker, it depends, because you can work in the psychiatry department or you can work in the case management department. I personally work in the case management department. As a case manager in the hospital, my job is to really work with the patients, the physician and nurses to make sure we have a safe discharge plan come time when they are ready to leave the hospital. Now, I work a lot with the patient, the family, in terms of finding a skilled nursing facility, rehab facility, assisted living facility, going to an inpatient rehab facility, to coordinating home health care, or for them to go home with medical equipment to help them manage their care once they've been discharged. So I work hand in hand with everybody in the hospital, if that makes sense. And my job is to make sure that the patients have all the resources and services they need once they leave the hospital. So that's really my job. And if you're licensed, you can also work in the psychiatric services, I believe. Like if you're leaning more towards behavioral health, you can work in the psych unit. You can help assess patients' mental health, their diagnoses and stuff like that. So there's also that department in the hospital as well. The next question was also like, what do case managers do? And like I said before, it's basically me just collaborating with the patients, family, physicians, specialists to plan their treatment and also the discharge planning to see what is the best option for them. So alright, so the next question I received a lot: can you be a social worker in different countries? I realize I may have a few international viewers or subscribers, and I get a lot of questions of whether you can be a social worker in Germany, Iceland, and India. Some people are thinking of coming from other countries to America to do work as a social worker or go to grad programs. And to be honest, I've never done my research in terms of what social workers do in other countries. I imagine it's about the same. However, there are cases where social workers who work from the United States, they've been hired to work at a nonprofit in Thailand, in London, for cases such as like human rights, human trafficking, and they work hand in hand with the agency as well as with the survivors and victims to help them transition from that life to a normal life, or to help them get back to normalcy, for example. So I've heard of social workers, and in all honesty, that's what I wanted to do originally. Still might be the plan, don't know yet, but that's how I know of social workers working from the States to other countries, as well as working with government organizations like FEMA or the NGO, or the United Nations, so I would assume there are social workers globally. I just don't know specifically the criterias in other countries as to how to become a social worker. But there's nothing wrong with Googling and doing your own research to see what it is that your country specifically, the requirements to become a social worker. So, and I also received a lot of questions of whether their education, if you are a social worker in one country, how the process is to come to the United States. I'm honestly not really sure how that works. That's something that I'll probably look into in the near future to see what it's like. So, to be determined. The next question I would also get is, what is my caseload and my work balance at the hospital? So every week I manage about 25 to 35 cases, meaning I have to manage at least 25 to 35 patients per week. That can mean they could be admitted, and based on what their reason is for admission, I may have to work on assessments, collaborate with the physicians to see, okay, they're going home with a colostomy bag, then that's my job to provide that for them. Or, they can't go home due to social reasons, so I may have to call DCF and work with them. Or hospice, like if a patient's CMO and they're not doing great, it's coming to that point where it's the end of life phase, then it's my job to work with the hospice agencies to see what it is that we can do to help them. So it's not like I have to work on 25 patients per day, because sometimes there are patients who have been admitted and they don't need social work help or interventions. So that I just say hi to them, I introduce myself to see if they have any needs. If they don't, then I just document that. So normally every week I have to manage at least 25 to 35 patients. So not too bad. And the work balance is honestly manageable at first because I didn't have any medical background. It was a new thing for me to learn. So I really had to learn a lot of medical terms, how the physicians write their notes, what is a Pleurex catheter, what's a Foley, what's a central line. So it's at the beginning, it was a rough start, but luckily I had my unit partner who's been there for years. She's a veteran, she's amazing, and she really helped me a lot if I had questions, as well as my supervisor. So the work balance kind of equaled itself out. I also had to learn how to really go at my own pace despite whether the hospital was at capacity, code black, because at the end of the day, you don't want to rush when you're working on a patient's condition and like what they need to go home. So I normally just take my time and I do my best to really see at least 14 patients per day. So, and the fact that I have my unit partners to support me, my RNCMs help me, and my supervisor, always tells me that if I need her, she's always there. So I do feel like I have that support with my team. So that also helps me to really come in to work and enjoy what I do. Like I really do love working there. I love meeting the patients, talking to the family, and seeing the smile on their faces when I'm able to help them. Don't get me wrong, I do have days where families are very upset, they're yelling and screaming, and all they want to do is just say it's my fault, which, you know, it is what it is. You know, there comes a time where it's like I just have to listen to them and provide that safe space for them to really let it out, because they're there and, you know, it's a vulnerable time for them. So I would say my work balance is pretty good. Honestly. So the next question is, what unit do I work on? Now, I work on a med-surg floor, meaning I get all sorts of patients, from patients who are trach vent dependent to hospice to CMO, patients who are just in observation status, meaning they're just only here for like 2-3 days and they're going home. My floor, I am a step down floor for another specialty floor that really have a lot of patients that are trach and vent dependent, but if they need beds on their unit, then they normally send them to our floor, and from there we continue their care, work on what's the discharge plan, working with the family. So honestly, if you plan on working at the hospital as a social worker, me personally, your best way of learning is being on the med-surg floor, because you learn a lot, like a lot. You learn a lot with like the purpose of having a trach and the process of decannulation with oxygen, the capping trials for patients who are on trach, to downsizing their trach caps. Like, it's a lot to learn, and to be honest, it's a fast-paced unit. So there are also other units for like cardio, oncology. I don't know why I'm blanking on the other floors, but for me, I work on a med-surg floor, and sometimes I assist other floors that are med-surg as well. And the next question is, how come I don't show interaction with patients, my colleagues, and where I am in the hospital? So the thing is, it's very, very strict rules when it comes to filming in the hospital, because violating HIPAA, not to mention, it just doesn't, I will be breaking the law if I show any interactions with my patients and even my colleagues, because, you know, I'm not there to film. So I'm doing this channel is to really focus on, or showing my viewers, if you guys are interested in working in the hospital, and showing you guys what social workers do. So I can't just film me talking to patients and interacting with them or speaking to families, because one, that violates their privacy, and to be honest, that's just putting them in an uncomfortable position. Even if I did have the rights to do that, I personally wouldn't do that, because one, that goes against ethics and that violates HIPAA. So those are the reasons why what I show you guys, it's literally just me sitting at my desk, or if I'm walking, or just like me showing my face as I'm walking, because I have to be very, very careful to not violate any laws and regulation for me filming. This is just really just to educate you guys as to what social workers do in the hospital, because a lot of the stigma revolves around social workers taking kids away from their family, when that's not really the case. So I want to show a different perspective of the social work field, and hopefully it motivates you guys and inspire you guys to become social workers. So that's the reason why I am very limited to what I show you guys when I show you guys like what I do on a day-to-day. Honestly, that's all the questions I've been getting on my channel. If you guys have any more questions, please leave them in the comment section. I might do another like part 2 in a month or so if I continue to getting questions and answers. I know that I also get a lot of emails from you guys asking if you guys can interview me, because, you know, you guys are in grad school, you guys have to interview a social worker. I know, I've been through that, but honestly, the way my schedule works, I just don't have the time to write my response and sending you guys emails for these interviews as much as I would love to. It's just, I work long hours as is, and I pick up a lot of shifts. Like my next video, I'm thinking about filming my long week where I literally work tomorrow Sunday through next Sunday because I picked up 3 extra shifts. So, and they are long shifts, so they're not like a 9 to 5. It's like literally from 7:30 to 6. So it's going to be a long week for me, so I'm thinking about filming that for you guys as well. But I know that I get a lot of emails sent to me asking to interview, and I wish I really could, but I honestly just don't have the time to do that, and I hope you guys can understand. But if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to respond in the comment section, and I may do another Q&A in a month or so. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Please like and subscribe to my channel, as well as follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be revamping my Instagram as well, so I hope I can be more involved in social media this year, and hopefully you guys will come along for the journey. So until next time, bye.